owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-785-9132. That's 800-785-9132. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-785-9132.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen, Gillis.
Act like y'all know.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. Or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
Hey guys, it's Rocky and Keisha, and at Prosperity Tax Service, we're all about convenience. We get it. Life is busy. Your time is valuable. That's why we've streamlined the entire process to be as hassle-free as possible.
No more sifting through piles of paperwork or spending hours at an office. With Prosperity Tax Service, you can handle your taxes from the comfort of your own home.
Your financial data is in safe hands with us through our secure and user-friendly customer portal at prosperitytax.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things tax-related. Log in anytime from anywhere, whether it's from your couch or on the go.
We are experienced tax professionals, well-versed in handling a variety of tax situations. Receive genuine assistance and competitive pricing from real tax professionals who've seen it all.
We're marking 2 decades as a community-based enterprise here in Waco, Texas. So call us at 254-235-5662 or log on to www.prosperitytax.com. Thanks, guys.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
Holy what is that?
It's time to get in the game.
Do you know what time it is?
Tune in to Primetime Sports Talk with Jalen Gillis.
To me, you are nothing.
Your go-to source for breaking sports news in Central Texas and exclusive Dallas Cowboys coverage.
Start it up, let's go.
Catch us Monday through Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Prime Time. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, getting ready to take you through the prime time topics in sports, not just in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. Want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today, whether that is on Centex Sports Network, whether that is on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you're watching from. Thank you for sure for calling in with, for checking in with us today, as we have got plenty to talk about here today on the show. It's obviously Super Bowl Sunday is coming up. It is Super Bowl Sunday as we are here ready for the show, ready to see a really good game on Sunday. Now, for those of you that are watching over on YouTube, over on Facebook, wherever you're watching from, you'll notice a little bit different take in my wardrobe and we'll talk about that in just a second. But we got plenty to talk about. The Super Bowl Sunday. It is NBA trade deadline just passed this really a couple of hours ago. Just passed a couple of hours ago, and plenty of people to talk about, plenty of trades to talk about. Obviously, Luka Doncic being on the go was the biggest trade in history, really a history of the NBA trade deadline, in my opinion, this Luka Doncic trade. But we could talk about that some more. We'll talk about Jimmy Butler has finally got his wish, and he's headed to the Golden State Warriors. Not the exact team that he wanted to go to, but nonetheless, he is headed out of Miami, gets the trade that he wanted, going to Golden State to team up with Steph Curry and Draymond Green. That sounds like some very interesting practices between Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler being on one team. That's a lot of personality for Steph to try to all mix in together. We got to talk about a lot to do with the Super Bowl. I'll give some props out that I like in the Super Bowl, and we'll talk about that, folks. We got plenty to talk about here today on Centex Primetime. Wayne Walker will be joining us for a little bit here, joining us over the phones to talk with us for these 2 hours and to better explain what in the world is going to be going on in the Super Bowl. We've got the voice that you heard all year long for La Vega football right here on Centex Sports Network. Mr. Said Eigerhart is calling in with us to talk about this. Said, what's going on?
Hey, Jalen, what you got going on, bro?
Ain't nothing much, man. Ready for this Super Bowl, ready to see how this is all going to play out, as I'm sure you're ready as well to see how this is all going to play out. And like I said, we got plenty to talk about here today on Centex Primetime, folks, so we're going to go ahead and get right to it. We got plenty of football to talk, and we will talk plenty of football. But before we do that, we got to talk some NBA because the NBA trade deadline just passed. A lot of names have come and gone. Names that you didn't think, like Luka. Names that you didn't think, like Kevin Durant. Even though he didn't get traded, no one thought his name was going to be up in trade talks, and apparently he was being shopped around the entire league. So plenty to talk about there. Like I said, folks, for those of you watching over on YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV, or watching with us on Facebook, you might notice something a little bit different about my wardrobe here today. If you're wondering why I'm wearing a Kansas City Chiefs shirt, say this got nothing to do with you. All right, this isn't a shot at you or nothing. I got on a Kansas City Chiefs shirt. You're not in the studio to be able to see it, but I lost the bet, and I'm honoring the bet of wearing the Kansas City Chiefs shirt. This goes all the way back.
Let me know something then.
Ain't no beef. Ain't no beef, said. Ain't no beef. This is I lost the bet a couple of weeks ago. The Texans, as you guys know, played the Kansas City Chiefs. And, I got in a little verbal back and forth with some passionate Kansas City Chiefs fans that also happen to be MCC basketball fans. And I said, you know what? If the Texans lose this game, go ahead and send me the shirt, man, and I'll put it on, take a picture and whatnot, and I'll wear it and tag you guys. And, a couple weeks went by, I'm thinking, hey, maybe they forgot. I'm not going to bring it up. They don't bring it up. Well, the shirt got here this week, and I do have it on.
The one thing that I know about you is you are definitely a man of integrity.
Hey, so, I'm going to honor the bet. If I put it out there, I'm going to honor the bet, and that's exactly what I'm doing, and that's why I have this Kansas City Chiefs shirt on, because y'all know, no type of Kansas City Chiefs fan right here, but it's all good. I got it on for today being I don't want Sad to go at me too hard because I know he's going to have his Eagle stuff, and he got all his Eagle stuff laid out and ready for Sunday. But let's get right into this NBA talk a little bit. Jimmy Butler headed to the Golden State Warriors, gets traded for Andrew Wiggins and a couple of other guys, Kyle Anderson. They all ended up getting spread out in a few different team trade as they got through this. But the main piece being Jimmy Butler heading to the Golden State Warriors. Now, this when you see it just on face value, you think, man, this is a 6-time All-Star. And Jimmy Butler, this is a guy that can make a lot of difference. This is a guy that's carried teams over into the finals, even though they haven't won. This is a big deal, him going out there to team up with Steph Curry. But in my opinion, this is a deal. I don't know about a big deal, saying that Jimmy Butler's going out there to Golden State. I think he definitely can add something to this team. I think he definitely can add, some more defense to this team, some more scoring, a fourth quarter score. But The Golden State Warriors are not winning the championship.
I'm on the phone. I'm on the radio show.
Yeah, the Golden State Warriors are not winning the championship anytime soon.
No.
So
Listen,
just Jimmy Butler going there is
trade.
Yeah, go ahead, Sid.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say this Jimmy Butler trade. Obviously, we knew that he was going to be moved. He was unhappy in Miami. That had just kind of ran its course. But trading Jimmy Butler to Golden State, this is not going to be anything that's going to be significant in my mind. He's not even healthy right now. Draymond Green is day to day. So it's really just at this point, and they, to get him, they moved off of guys like Andrew Wiggins. You know what I mean? So now you're looking at them having a potential starting five of Steph Curry, Buddy Hield, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Quentin Post once everybody gets healthy. So I just don't think that this was the most significant trade that happened. And I'm also under the impression that the Doncic to AD trade was also not the most significant. I know that it was the first time in NBA history that we've seen a first team All NBA guy traded for another first team All NBA guy. Generally, those type of trades don't. Like I said, first time. So those things don't happen. But I'm not really sure how significant it is immediately, right? And Luka's not even healthy. I think AD is going to play tonight for Dallas, make his Dallas debut.
He's out. He's still out to I think probably to next week. He's out for tonight's game. Yeah.
Right. But the trade, to me, the NBA trade that happened at the deadline, the most significant one, and when I mean significant, I think this is really going to have an immediate impact in terms of making this one team better, and that's the De'Aaron Fox trade for San Antonio.
Yeah,
because they were able to acquire De'Aaron Fox. So now their starting five is Chris Paul, Hall of Famer, De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes has been one of the best role players, throughout his whole career, and then Wemby. Yeah, and they still have they have Stephon Castle, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sochan coming off the bench. So that was really, to me, the most significant trade. And right now they're already fourth, in their division. They're 22 and 26. I think that we're looking at this being the Spurs. They're going to make the playoffs this year. I really believe that they're going to make the playoffs this year. They're going to start catching up to teams like Minnesota and the Lakers, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that was the best trade, because what they did was they were able to acquire a running mate for Victor Wembanyama, going forward for the next 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah. No, that D Fox trade was a huge one in my opinion, because even if it's not as significant this year, like you said, going forward, man, that's going to be a scary duo for people to have to deal with. And to your other point, man, they didn't have to come off any of their young guys. They got off of just got off Zach Collins, Trey Jones, a couple of guys that were role players, but any of the young lottery picks like Jeremy Sohan, who's out of Baylor, like Stephon Castle, who's been playing great. I think that was a huge trade for them. I want to get another guest in here on the show with us. Joining us for a few minutes, we got the Waco ISD Hall of Famer in the building with us, former San Diego Charger and Minnesota Viking as well. Mr. Wayne Walker in the building. Wayne, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Central Texas? Hey, what's up, Sid?
What's up, Hall of Famer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Wayne, like we were just saying on here, talking about this Jimmy Butler trade, and I know you're pressed for time, so I want to get your opinion on a couple things before we get your picks on the Super Bowl. But before you get on me too bad about my shirt, man, you weren't on here, and I was talking about it. I lost the bet. I'm honoring my bet. And I got to wear a Kansas City T-shirt.
Well, my problem with that, Jalen, if you would have just listened to me, man, you wouldn't have to wear that shirt.
You're not lying.
I picked the teams. Hey, I've been picking from week 6 almost and said that these two teams would be in the Super Bowl, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We're going to talk about Jimmy Butler and these trades. Well,
say, Wayne, you ain't got to be humble. You called it, and all they had to do was listen to you. You ain't got to be humble.
You're right, Sid. But I'm on his show, so you can't get on a man on his own show, man. The Jimmy Butler trade, man, it was just so much drama behind it. They had to do something, but it's not a trade that's going to make a difference. They'll be formidable for right now, but all these guys going to have age on them. Draymond can't stay healthy. Jimmy Butler can't stay healthy. And sometimes you want my guy, my shooter, Stephen Curry, he don't stay healthy a lot either. So, like I say, they'll be formidable, but I don't think it's going to help them this year. Yeah. And like y'all said, Fox to San Antonio is the biggest trade because it's going to help him. You got a young running mate that's going to help. And I also think the Luka trade is something for the future as well. I think it'll help him because he'll be around a professional LeBron James that'll teach him the way of the NBA, teach him how to get in shape, teach him, what being a global and a worldwide superstar is about. So I think that'll help him in the long run, and then they need some more pieces. But man, it was crazy though.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Just like everybody else, I thought it was fake, man. The news came to my phone, and everybody's texting me and calling me at the same time. Yeah. I'm wondering why my phone is blowing up at 11:30, 11:45 at night.
And I think the one thing that we have to really understand about this trade, the Doncic to AD trade, this is basically NBA owners taking back control from the players because they're like, hey, listen, in terms of Luka, like what's been reported anyway. Yeah, his playing weight is 230. He shows up to training camp at 260. He's never healthy. He's never played any defense. Not a lick of defense.
Well, it all hinged around him. The whole thing, all these trades hinged upon him because he was that guy that they didn't believe in. Like you would never think that they would trade a guy like Luka. But then when you go back AD,
that tells me
Nico Harris,
there was something going on that we don't know about.
Well, Nico Harris,
by Dallas trading him, they cost this guy $120 million because now he's no longer eligible for the Supermax.
But I think it's going. I think it's going to come back and hunt Dallas though on the long run. Yeah, because I just think it's going to drive him and make him a better player. But the thing about it, Nico Harris, they say him and Nico Harris really didn't even speak. Yeah. So, Kyrie Irving is one of Nico guys. And Anthony Davis is too. So
all Nike guys.
Yeah, all Nike guys. So you just think about it. But the problem is on that side of Dallas, and I love it for Dallas, but Kyrie can't stay healthy and AD can't either.
No, that's my point with this. I think Luka.
When you're willing to give up a 25-year-old superstar, this guy is the only player in NBA history to be all NBA first team his first 5 years in the league. When you're willing to move off somebody like that, and now your stars are in their mid-30s with AD and Kyrie. There was something going on, and to me, something personal had to happen.
Oh yeah, I think something personal could have transpired as well. But for one, for the people that were saying the Mavericks won this trade, to Wayne's point, this is not a win at all for the Dallas Mavericks. You traded a guy that said just told us was first team All NBA his first 5 years. Exactly. That's absolutely ridiculous. This trade was about there's new ownership within the Dallas Mavericks. Mark Cuban is gone. He sold it to the guys that own most of the casinos in Vegas. They're trying to get under the salary cap. They don't want to pay anybody this really don't have nothing to do about Luka. They don't want to pay anybody $350 million and be over the luxury tax going in because they're trying to figure out how to get casinos into Dallas. This really doesn't, in my opinion, have much to do with basketball because it can't have anything to do with basketball. You trade a guy that's first team All-NBA 5 years in a row for Anthony Davis, like Wayne just said, can't stay healthy. Kyrie can't stay healthy. You lost your spacing on the court. Klay Thompson can't stay healthy. Now you're adding two bigs in instead of having a lot of spacing. And then, like I said on the show with Rocky on Tuesday, we've never seen Kyrie be a lead guard as a distributor in his career. That's not his game.
And he don't play defense.
No, he doesn't play. So, people talking about defense. He don't play no defense.
Yeah, but this is my whole thing. You got to understand this. This is why I say it's personal because
right.
It's personal.
We are talking about a person who is literally an international star. Okay, international star, and he's only 25 years old. Yep. So when you don't give that type of cachet, and he was not shopped on the open market. You understand what I'm saying?
No, only one team was called. You're right.
But you're absolutely right, man. You think about it, and the Lakers seized the opportunity because he is that type of star, and they need to sell tickets. I mean, they had the highest priced tickets in the whole NBA. Yeah. So you go into Tinseltown, and you got a Luka, you got a star going forward that can play for you for the next 10 years, and then you just got somebody to represent you past LeBron. So, it was great for them.
And what this move does for the Lakers, they can move on from LeBron. If LeBron want to waive his no trade clause and go away,
they're not doing that now.
Okay, we ain't got a problem with that.
No. He gonna have a statue outside.
He's gonna retire as a Laker, I think. But now this gives you a plan. The Lakers had no plan for when LeBron retired. Lakers had no plan. AD was going to play, another year or two after LeBron retired until it's time to move off his contract because he's going to be worth too much and not playing enough games. This gives the Lakers a future. And, it's crazy to see where the reports have come out and all this stuff. Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison, really good friends. They got Nike ties. Rob Pelinka has represented multiple Nike guys, obviously Kobe, but Kevin Durant, all these type of people. LeBron's a Nike guy. Nico Harrison has worked for Nike for 30 years. He's got a relationship with all the Nike guys. That's how he even got his job as the GM of the Mavericks, because of his ties to Nike. So that's where that comes into play. And no one else got a phone call. This is kind of some backroom Danny Ainge stuff. Kind of reminds me of, like, nobody else even got a phone call. Let me just call my homeboy. Similar to when Kevin Garnett got traded to the Celtics. Kevin McHale said, I'm only going to trade him to my friend, and called Danny Ainge and traded him to the Celtics.
That's like two friends trading Pokemon cards.
I'm telling you.
No, that's exactly right. Because understand this, okay? Rudy Gobert got traded for 4 number ones.
It's crazy.
Okay? Yeah. So what do you think Luka Doncic, what could they have gotten for Luka Doncic if they would have shot him on the open market?
Whatever the maximum allowed picks is.
And that would have been the smart thing to do. That would have been the smart thing to do because you could have got so much value out of it. Mm-hmm. But a trade like that, the owners have to sign off on that. That ain't nothing a GM can just go and do. They have to, hey, Jenny, Pelinka, you got to go say, hey, Jenny, hey, what did you think about this?
Yeah.
You can get, and I'm sure she was like, yes, please do it.
I'm sure everyone on the Lakers side said, can we do it right now? Do we got to wait on anybody? Can we say yes now?
And then on the Mavericks side, they were saying, hey, $350 million, you're not getting along with this guy, he won't get in shape. All these little reports and all these little nuances that comes out. So they like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah, I think it was, the simplest trade, and I just had a whole segment last week on the show talking about how Rob Pelinka should potentially lose his job because he never does anything every time they need trades. And a lot of people are going to say, this trade saved his job. And I'm like, what did he do besides answer the phone? All he did was answer the phone, and he said, are you being serious right now? You mean I can get Luka? Oh, cool. Who do I got? He would have sent Bron and AD if they asked for both of them.
And Jason Kidd, he didn't even know about it, right?
Nope.
But I bet you if he would have went to Jason Kidd probably would have had some displeasure with that trade.
And that's why they didn't tell nobody.
That's why they didn't tell
And people
anybody.
were wondering why. They're like, man, they didn't tell anybody or they didn't tell LeBron. Why would they tell LeBron? Him and AD are close friends. What they going to tell LeBron for?
You couldn't tell nobody about that.
I think Wayne was very accurate when he said that, trades of this magnitude, they only happen at the owner level. GMs don't have this kind of power to move a first team all-star player. GMs don't have that kind of power. They can't do that without the ownership signing off on it. So this was definitely something that happened at the ownership level.
Oh yeah, for sure. I seen a Rocky, matter of fact, sent me a video this morning of Bill Simmons said he called. I think it was Bill Simmons was calling one of the guys he knows at the Mavs and said, no, this came from up top. This wasn't a Nico Harrison thing. This wasn't a Jason Kidd thing. This came from up top because then people don't want to pay him $350. If you got so many investments going out just in business in general, we don't want to give $350 million to a guy that might not win us a championship. So it's a bunch of maybes and ifs and $350 million, and you trying to protect your investment. They just got the Mavs. They don't care about basketball. They probably don't even watch.
I mean, that affects your whole team budget.
Yeah.
I mean, that affects butts in the seat, man. When you talk about butts in the seat and your whole fan base, your whole culture, the Mavericks' whole culture, then you talking about that has come from the owner management. That you can't just do that.
Yeah, that can't come from anybody else.
They can talk about it, but the approval had to come from.
And even if it would have got out into the media, they would have got killed. The media would have killed them if it got out that they're even attempting to trade Luka Doncic. So that was most definitely one of the biggest shocks of the year in this early part of the year. Wayne, I know you're pressed for time, man, so we're going to get to the Super Bowl, man.
Okay.
Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs. See, here we go. We done got said started. We done got said started up, man. I know he probably got on the whole Eagles jersey. He might got a Donovan McNabb jersey on or something right now.
So much, man. Man. I mean,
But the Chiefs and Eagles coming up, man. I just want to ask you, we talked about it last week on here. We said we're going to make our predictions this week. I came out on Monday on the show and said that I'm taking the Eagles plus 1.5. I didn't learn my lesson last year, losing my money to Patrick Mahomes, betting against him versus Brock Purdy. And I'm not learning my lesson again this year. And I'm picking another quarterback that's not better than Patrick Mahomes to come out with a win. But like we said last week when we were on the show, I like this Eagles team, man. I mean, Jalen Hurts is a part of it, but it's not all him. It's Saquon Barkley. It's these receivers. It's this giant offensive line. It's Jalen Carter. It's the secondary. It's the whole thing. The only parts that I think Kansas City are better than Philadelphia on are quarterback, head coach, and defensive coordinator. Everything else, and that's a big part. Everything else, though, I'm giving to the Philadelphia Eagles. But we're gonna let you go ahead, man, and tell us your predictions on this game.
So me and Sid talked earlier.
Okay.
Sid, what did I say was the advantages? I say if you go down the line, you compare position versus position. Philadelphia has an edge in every position except for quarterback, head coach, and defense coordinator. But the thing about it is, Philadelphia has to just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you're going to run. I mean, just run the ball down their throats. You have the biggest line in the whole league, and the game is won in the trenches. You can get 3 to 4 yards.
I think you said just get 8 yards and 3 downs, right?
Yeah, you get 8 yards and 3 down, and then do the tush push.
Yeah,
for the other 2. I do that all game.
The whole game.
They stop it. And the problem with that is if it's simple, they can know that we're running, but can you stop it?
Yeah,
you still have to stop it. That's the whole key. But I think if they go out and they try to get too cute, and they try to overanalyze, and because Kansas City, one thing about Andy Reid, have you ever looked at his record when he has a bye week? I think he's like undefeated coming out of bye weeks, and he had 2 weeks to prepare for Philadelphia. So Kansas City has to change their game plan because they have to do something imaginary to try to mix up Philadelphia. But Philadelphia don't have to do anything. No. They just have to be Philadelphia, and they just have to run the ball and do what they do. And the whole world should let them. They can let the whole world know that they're going to run the ball and run the ball.
Yeah, it should be that simple. Go ahead, Seth.
What I was going to say, Philadelphia. As I was watching the NFC championship game, all Philadelphia Eagles players were healthy. They had their all their starters out there, and the only thing that I could think of was, this is what Howie Roseman does. He puts together rosters. He understands how to draft. He understands who to sign in free agency, to stay under the salary cap. He puts on a master class every year as to how to build a roster. So now that fortunate enough that his roster is 100% healthy now, right? And you saw what these guys did to Washington and the Commanders. They were a team that had a puncher's chance of advancing just because of the fact that, number one, Daniels is so dynamic, and that was that Washington Commanders team this year. That was a good team. It really was.
Oh yeah.
But so going into this game on Sunday, the one thing that we know, and you've already said it, Wayne, I think Andy Reid is the best head coach. I know that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback. I'm not so sure that Spags is the best DC because Vic Fangio does an outstanding job as a DC. He was a poor head coach in Denver, but
he got the rings.
But Vic Fangio, he knows how to dial up defenses. Matter of fact, the difference between Vic Fangio and Spags is Spags is going to bring the blitz. Fangio is going to they're just going to play head up. They're just going to play man. They're not going to.
The problem is with the blitz is the thing with the thing with the blitz is he knows when to bring the blitz.
Yeah,
that's the whole key. Right. And if you put Spags and Spags had Philadelphia's defense, it wouldn't be even. They would be untouchable. If he had that personnel, they would be untouchable. The key to the game is. If Philadelphia just doesn't get too cute, the only problem I have with Philadelphia is if Kansas City goes out and get a lead, and then they start rushing them, and then Philadelphia comes out of character. That's my.
I think the key for Philadelphia beating Kansas City on Sunday, the key is they've got to jump out to an early lead. They got to jump out because if they jump out to a 10-0, 13-0 type lead, now you can definitely rely on running the ball. And then by running the ball, you're going to force Kansas City to have these 8 men in the box type stuff. And now, because the box is so full, now you have opportunities to look at A.J. Brown down the field, Devontae Smith down the field, Dallas Goedert on a hash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Philadelphia can't get behind because if Philadelphia get behind, then it's going to be a problem.
Major problem.
Because then they have to pass a little bit, especially if they get down by more than 10 points. You can still run the ball, but you're going to have to pass the ball at some time because you can't just keep eating up the clock. So the key is if they got to make Kansas City one-dimensional, and you can make Kansas City one-dimensional, and Kansas City can't beat them just passing. Neither team are going to be able to beat each other just passing. So, but if you make Kansas City one-dimensional and you get them behind the gun, then you can run the ball. You can possess the ball, and I don't think Kansas City will be able. So the most important thing is if they get up, and Kansas City don't get ahead of them, because if they get behind, it's going to be a problem. I just don't trust Jalen Hurts as just a pure passer to get it done.
Nor do I trust their offense to come from behind. Their team's not built like that to be able to come from behind. Their team is built to get ahead and keep a lead, and that's how. And their defense is going to go out there and play defense.
I don't know if you're aware of this. I saw this earlier today. Patrick Mahomes was down 10 points in the fourth quarter of a Super Bowl twice. And he
came back
winning those games.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They just the Kansas City just make plays. They're just a timely team, man. When winning is a habit, man, and that's what it is. So winners win and losers lose. Kansas City is going to be tough.
Yeah.
And with that saying, I got to go. I just want to stop by and holler at
for sure.
But, man, to reveal my picks, and I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles, man. I think the Eagles, history is history for a reason, man, because it's hard to it's hard. It's hard to accelerate it. It's hard to overcome it. It's hard to make it. So with that being said, I don't think Kansas City going to 3 Super Bowls is great, but I think Philadelphia has the best personnel in the NFL. And if they just go out and beat Philadelphia, they should beat Kansas City if they just keep it simple.
Yeah.
And that's just running the ball and just playing sound defense and just being Philadelphia, leaning on that big offensive line. So, I'm picking the Eagles. Man, you ain't got to sleep.
I was just about to say, you a Hall of Famer for a reason, bro.
Hey, so y'all heard it here, man. The pick is in. Philadelphia Eagles from Wayne Walker. We got 3 people up here picking Philly. I'm trying to remember who Rocky picked on here. I think he might have leaned towards Philly, but he was giving some points about Kansas City too.
And I love Kansas City. Kansas City has a guy as a signal caller from my alma mater, man, and we kind of stick together. For sure. And I know who Big Red. I know who the Red Raiders are rooting for, man. And I might be rooting for them, but reality has to set in at some point, and you have to go with reality. And reality tells me, looking at it and looking at the personnel, that Philadelphia is a better team.
Yeah. If the Eagles don't win on Sunday, it's going to be because there was something that went wrong with the coaching, because the roster is clearly better.
Yeah, the roster is clearly better. If they don't win, it's because of 15, man. We know what it's going to be if they don't win. It's because of number 15.
And then my last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kansas City, man, they game plan better than anybody in the NFL. So I'm concerned about that. But like I said, Philly, if they just keep it simple, keep the ball in front of them, they should be out. But Kansas City, Andy Reid, Spags, they game plan better than anybody. And what Philly has to do is make those in-game adjustments and just keep it simple, and they'll be okay. But, man, hey, peace to everybody, man.
Sir, appreciate it.
I look forward to coming in here next week and talking about the Super Bowl. But y'all have a wonderful day. All right, Brother Sid. Jalen?
All right, appreciate
Be
good, bro.
All right, that was Wayne Walker, y'all. He's pretty much telling y'all that my pick at the beginning of the year of Kansas City not three-peating, my hopes are still alive, is what he's telling me. But we're going to take a quick break, folks. When we come back, we'll talk some more about this Philadelphia and Kansas City game. We'll talk some more about these crazy NBA trades and some more news going around in sports. So stay tuned and stay locked in right here on Centex Primetime. We'll be right back after this short break.
Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen Gillis.
Act like y'all.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports.
Hey guys, it's Rocky and Keisha, and at Prosperity Tax Service, we're all about convenience. We get it. Life is busy. Your time is valuable. That's why we've streamlined the entire process to be as hassle-free as possible.
No more sifting through piles of paperwork or spending hours at an office. With Prosperity Tax Service, you can handle your taxes from the comfort of your own home.
Your financial data is in safe hands with us through our secure and user-friendly customer portal at prosperitytax.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things tax-related. Log in anytime from anywhere, whether it's from your couch or on the go.
We are experienced tax professionals, well-versed in handling a variety of tax situations. Receive genuine assistance and competitive pricing from real tax professionals who've seen it all.
We're marking 2 decades as a community-based enterprise here in Waco, Texas. So call us at 254-235-5662 or log on to www.prosperitytax.com. Thanks, guys.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. 4206 or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
NSJ Event Co., one of the premier event designers in Central Texas and a Centex Sports Network supporter. Voted Waco Awards Event Planner of the Year 2021, NSJ Event Co. is your go-to source for event planning. Whether it's your next baby shower, birthday bash, wedding, or retirement party, NSJ Event Co. will bring out the elegance, class, and style your event deserves. Call NSJ Event Co. at the number on the screen or scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation. NSJ Event Co., where the party lady takes care of all your event needs.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. This is live from the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports Studios.
That's right, sports fans.
About to show these boys how we do it. You ready?
Tune in to Primetime Sports Talk with Jalen Gillis, your go-to source for breaking sports news in Central Texas and exclusive Dallas Cowboys coverage on the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Prime Time. Jalen Gillis still here, joined by said Igor Hardez. We just got done talking about the Super Bowl and some of those picks. Got done talking about Luka and his trade to the Los Angeles Lakers. Anthony Davis headed out to the Dallas Mavericks. Still got some more NBA news and other things to talk about, and we still got plenty more to talk about with this Super Bowl, folks. As we all know, it is Super Bowl Sunday. This coming up Sunday, so it's Super Bowl week here on Centex Prime Time. I've had a lot of fun getting a chance to talk about this Super Bowl all week long. Before we go back to talking about some more Super Bowl stuff, there's still a lot of news in the NBA. As we just said, the NBA trade deadline was, I believe, at 2 o'clock, so just a few hours ago, and plenty of trade news. One of the more interesting pieces of trade news that came out was this whole deal about Kevin Durant. Now, nobody expected to see Kevin Durant's name in any trade talks, including Kevin Durant. He was apparently getting shopped behind his back, or most of the people are behind their back, but he was apparently getting shopped, and there was actually a deal on the table that was ready to go through for a 3-team trade between the Miami Heat, the Phoenix Suns, and the Golden State Warriors that would have sent Jimmy Butler to the Phoenix Suns like he wanted to go to, and would have sent Kevin Durant back to Golden State. But Kevin Durant had to step in at the last minute and tell them, I don't want to go back to Golden State. I don't want to go to the Warriors. And so because of that, they honored KD's request, and they did not trade him to the Golden State Warriors, even though he doesn't have a no-trade clause. Both parties respected Kevin Durant enough to say, hey, you don't want to go there. That's cool. He didn't even think he was part of any of this. He's sitting back thinking like, wow, Luka got traded, and Jimmy Butler's getting traded, and then all of a sudden he's seeing his name pop up and stuff. After that, more teams started to flood the Phoenix Suns with trade deals for Kevin Durant for pretty much the last day of the trade deadline, trying to see to get something for Kevin Durant. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, this goes back to the whole, like, there's a dynamic in play with the Luka Doncic trade that it was something personal happened, because you see, like I said, Kevin Durant doesn't have a no-trade clause. Bradley Beal does. Yeah. But Kevin Durant doesn't have a no-trade clause. So for the franchise to put together a trade package, and then for him to say, you know what, I'd really rather stay, and for them to honor that, they want him there. Dallas does not want Luka there anymore. That's why they got rid of him. Okay, and like I say, we'll probably never know exactly what happened, what transpired to make the whole relationship sour. But you don't trade a 25-year-old guy who's been 5-time first team All NBA player. You don't just trade him. For anything. You
don't
like
for anything.
But for anything. So there was something that happened. And like I say, we'll probably never really know what it is. But Phoenix, and this is the contrast between Kevin Durant being shocked versus and Luka wasn't even shocked.
No.
They were just like, hey, you know what? Can we get AD for Luka? He wasn't even shocked. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we'll probably never be made aware of.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes with that, and like you said, for Kevin Durant to even get shopped, but they still honored that deal with the no trade clause. Really, this had to do with Bradley Beal. They've been trying to trade Bradley Beal for like 2 months, but Bradley Beal has that no trade clause.
They never should have got Bradley Beal in the first place.
That was the issue, and I'm glad you said that. That it all goes back to that. They never should have got Bradley Beal, knowing he was an aging player, 31, 32 years old. He's a small shooting guard. He's 6'3". He's a small shooting guard, and you're bringing him on a team with one of the best shooting guards in the NBA. It never made sense from the jump. You shouldn't have got him, especially that he had a no-trade clause.
Yeah, but you're exactly right. Bradley Beal is the type of guy, he needs to put the ball up. He needs to shoot the ball 25, 30 times a game in order to even be effective. And why would you do that if you're playing next to Kevin Durant?
And Devin Booker, who are both better than you.
And Devin Booker. I forgot. And Devin Booker.
That's what I'm saying. You got a top 3, top 5 shooting guard in the NBA on your team, and you bring in another shooting guard that's making more money than everybody with the no-trade clause. There's only 2 no-trade clauses in the league, LeBron and Bradley Beal.
So, Bradley Beal. Isn't that crazy?
That doesn't make any sense.
And Bradley Beal.
his agent did his thing when he was in Washington. They didn't have nothing else, so he was able to get the max money and a no trade.
The man got a great agent.
Oh man, a Hall of Fame agent, because him and Kirk Cousins might got the same agent. Man, I'm about to look into that and see if they got the same agent or something. But yeah, they kind of messed it up getting Bradley Beal in on that deal. They've been trying to trade him for 2 months, but he kept vetoing every trade, because he holds all the cards because he has a no-trade clause. Why would he want to stay there after every day they're calling you and saying, hey, we got a trade on the table. You want to take this one? You'd think eventually you would just say yes to one of them. Miami didn't want Bradley Beal. That's why the deal went sour, because Miami doesn't want Bradley Beal because they got Tyler Hero. Why are we going to bring in Bradley Beal, making more money than everybody with a no-trade clause? It's not even going to fit into our system.
I'm going to be honest with you. Most teams in the NBA don't want Bradley Beal.
Yeah, you're not lying at all. You're not lying at all.
Yeah.
And as skilled as he is, and as good as a player as he is, as good as a scorer he is, at one point led the league in scoring, he is a great player. But he's an undersized shooting guard that doesn't play defense, that makes $55 million a year, that really just needs the ball, like you said, 25 to 30 shots, just for him to be effective. He's not playing defense. He's not a distributor. They tried to bring him in last year and make him be a point guard. That didn't work. Now they all got to come back in this locker room, look at each other. The reports have already come out and said that there's a lot of tension in the locker room today. A lot of tension. Because you tried to trade Bradley Beal for 2 months, and then all of a sudden you were right there to trading Kevin Durant.
Yeah, and I know Wayne had to leave, but I would have loved to ask him, as somebody who's been in these professional locker rooms, what's that like? You know what I mean? Because now y'all gotta, you knew that the franchise tried to do something to get rid of you, and then it didn't happen, and then now you got to come back and go to work. What's that locker room like? You know what I mean?
As the reports are coming out and saying, they're saying it's not too sweet as of right now. They're going to have a come to Jesus meeting, just players, because everyone was on the table of getting traded. Nobody knows their role. They're underachieving right now. I think they've lost 4 out of 5 games. They just got blown out by 40 last night by the Oklahoma City Thunder on TV. Like it's not looking so hot right now, Phoenix, and now everyone's mad. Only person that didn't get traded or talks in the trade was Devin Booker. Everybody else in the whole locker room, you're getting talked about in trades, and so I mean that situation was kind of crazy to me. That the fact that they even tried to send him back to Golden State was wild, because they were only going to get Jimmy Butler. I think they were just so focused in on getting Jimmy Butler that they were trying to do anything. Trading Jimmy Butler for Kevin Durant doesn't make any sense at all. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you trade Jimmy?
Because Jimmy Butler. Okay, now understand this. Jimmy Butler has been one of the best postseason performers
for sure
in the sport in recent seasons.
For sure,
but I'd rather have Kevin Durant than have Jimmy Butler. I mean,
that doesn't make any sense. Close.
It doesn't make any sense. Kevin Durant is almost 7 feet tall, and he's basically a guard.
Yeah,
right?
He is. He is.
He shoots a 3, mid-range killer game. Yeah, so I don't understand why they were fascinated with Jimmy Butler to begin with. unless it had to be a financial thing. But I don't. Kevin Durant's not due for a new deal anytime soon.
Well, I think both of their deals are up at around the same time. So you would have had to give him. I think they both have a player option going into next year. Well, Kevin Durant's on the contract for one more year. Jimmy Butler had a player option going into next year, so he was actually going to be a free agent next year. Kevin Durant's got about 2 more years on this deal right now, including this year. So it doesn't make any sense. Right. KD's averaging 27 points a game still.
I understand Miami wanting to get rid of Jimmy Butler. I get that part.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
But I don't know why anybody would want to bring Jimmy Butler onto your roster.
I mean, if you got to be a one piece away type of thing.
You got to move off of Kevin Durant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to trade my best player for somebody worse just so I can have another player. Like, what do you think is going? You're going to lose still. You're losing right now. You're going to trade your best player, and then you're still going to lose. Except now you don't have Kevin Durant when you lose. Like, I don't, that was strange to me that he even got on the open trade markets. And KD's he's a pretty emotional guy. He wears his emotions on his sleeves. He lets it be known what he's thinking, how he's feeling. So I'm sure he's not just the happiest about his name coming up in all of these trade talks.
And I want to bring this. I want to bring this point up about KD. This is something that Charles Barkley said years ago. Kevin Durant is not the guy who's going to be driving the bus. He's going to be on the bus, but he's not going to be driving the bus. Kevin Durant has never led anybody to anything since he graduated, since he left the University of Texas, and they didn't win anything. So Kevin Durant is not the guy that you want to just put your you don't want him as the face of the franchise. You don't want him to be the guy because he's never been that. He's never been that.
And that's just the unfortunate reality. Kevin Durant's going to go down as one of the best players to ever pick up a basketball, but everything you just said is still true. Two things can be true at once. He is one of the best players to play. He's one of the most skilled players to play. But at the end of the day, you never were the guy on a championship team. It just is what it is. You got a team to a championship in Oklahoma City, and that maybe it could have stayed if you guys would all stay together, but that didn't happen. You go to Golden State, that was not your team.
And that run that OKC had, that he was a part of, that was really led by Westbrook.
Yeah, that was a collective. They had Russell Westbrook, James. They had 3 MVPs on there. So and then young Ibaka at the same time. Yeah, I mean that team was loaded. That's the reason why they were so good. And we're in the finals so young. You go to Golden State. We know you're not the leader there. You just get to hoop, which is a cool situation. But then you left that, and you went to Brooklyn. Yeah. That's one of the most epic fails in NBA history. The team that Brooklyn put together with Kyrie, Kevin Durant, James Harden, all in their prime, and couldn't get it figured out. Then you get traded to Phoenix, and you haven't. And I mean, Phoenix has gotten worse. This is what it is. When they had Chris Paul and Devin Booker, they were in the finals. They traded for you. You haven't got out the first round. So I mean, it just is. It just is what it is, man. I mean, and I love KD.
He's just not that dude. He's just not that dude.
It's just that simple. He's just not the guy that's going to lead you to go all the way. Like I said, they played the Thunder last night. SGA put a 50 ball up on them in 3 quarters, just about in that game. There's a couple other trades that were kind of interesting, I guess you could say. The Bucks trade Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma off the Washington Wizards. Now, I think Kyle Kuzma is a nice young player. He's got championship experience, I guess you could say, because he was on that team that when the Lakers won the championship in the bubble. Went to Washington, got a big deal. Hasn't been heard of since then, besides his weird outfits that he wears before the games. But he hasn't done anything necessarily on the court. My thing is for the Bucks, I understand trading Middleton. I've been saying to trade Middleton because he just keeps getting hurt over and over. He's getting older and still has a really big contract. I understand that fully. But you're trying to win a championship. You got Giannis, who is, I mean, like I always say, he's right there for best player in the league. There's nobody that I can put just definitively way above Giannis. You can say Jokic, you can say Shea, Luka, all these guys. They're good. But Giannis is right there in those conversations. You got a guy in his prime that's one of the best players in the league, if not the best player. You got Dame Lillard, who's still giving you really, really good minutes and is still an all-star in this league. You trade for a guy like Kyle Kuzma, who honestly is just a loser. Like, let's just be honest. They've done a lot of losing in Washington in the last few years since he's been there. A lot of losing, including a 17-game losing streak this year with him starting on that team. So, I mean, I understand that he is a young player with a lot of talent, but bringing him into this situation, is he a player that could come in and help these guys win?
I'm really intrigued by that Kyle Kuzma for Chris Middleton trade was the most intriguing trade that happened, in my opinion, because Kyle Kuzma is talented. The fact that he was in Washington, and listen, Washington is where playing for the Washington Wizards is like being in jail. Okay, it's just a terrible culture. Okay,
that's 100% facts.
Place to be. Yeah, bad place to be. So I don't. Listen, Daniel Gafford, the playing for the Mavericks, when he got traded from Washington to the Mavs, and they made a run to the finals last year, and Gafford was a big part of that. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just hard. You just don't win in Washington. It's just a terrible culture. Kyle Kuzma is talented. So Kyle Kuzma going to Milwaukee, like you say, we already know the big dog is Giannis, and then your number 2 player is Dame Lillard, who still has some gas in the tank.
Oh yeah.
If Kyle Kuzma is your number 3, replacing Middleton with Kyle Kuzma, I think that's an upgrade in my mind. Yep. This may have been the most impactful trade that happened this week, because if you can put together some semblance of a big 3 with Giannis, Lillard, and Kuzma, that may be exactly what they need to make sure that they are able to get past Boston.
Yeah,
right?
Or Cleveland. Yeah, no, you're right. This could be, out of all these trades, as far as most impactful, because the Bucks are competing for a championship right now. They're trying to win right now. They're not trying to win. This is not a future. This is not a – Dame Lillard is already 33. Giannis is only getting older and more irritated with not winning, because we know what type of guy he is and what type of competitor he is. So they're trying to win right now. Doc Rivers is at the end of his career. Everybody's trying to win right now.
You're still getting good minutes out of Lopez. You know what I mean?
Brook Lopez still playing good, and he's 35. You're still getting minutes out of a lot of these vets. This is a veteran team, so bringing the guy, you're right. He is an upgrade from Chris Middleton, mainly because Chris Middleton doesn't play. Like, Middleton hasn't played consistent minutes in about 2 or 3 years, honestly, since that finals run. And I believe that after, when did they win? They won in 21. I think the Bucks were going to win in 22 again if Middleton didn't get hurt, because nobody was stopping Giannis. Middleton was playing at a really high level. I think they could have won that one, and Golden State ended up winning that year. I didn't see Golden State having a chance guarding Giannis in that finals.
Yeah, in my mind, Milwaukee is a team they have to win now, because the window is closing on them. It really is.
For sure.
Listen, it's got to be this year. If they're going to win it again, it's got to be this year.
Yeah, you're not lying.
Now you don't have to worry about Philly. Now you don't have to worry about, the only team you really got to worry about in the East is Boston. And I know Cleveland's done a lot of winning this year, but I think Milwaukee is better than Cleveland. To me, if Milwaukee's going to do anything, they got to do it this year.
Yeah, I'm agreeing, man. If they're going to try to win, that window is closing fast. And, I mean, it's only got a little bit left before it's getting shut, because Giannis has voiced multiple frustrations. Everybody knows Doc Rivers is on his last leg. I don't know how he got this job, but we all know he's on his last leg as far as being a coach. And these small market teams, it's hard to keep a star. They get bounced in the first round. Expect Giannis to come out and ask for a trade next year to New York or somewhere like that, because he's already talked about the Europeans taking over the league. Giannis is already talking about how he wants all the Europeans to be able to play in big markets. Expect Giannis to be the next one, especially if they get bounced in the first round this year. Oh, man, the whole team is getting blown up. So, and I think they all know that. So this Kuzma trade could be super important for them. Like you said earlier, I think the Fox trade is going to be huge as well going forward for the Spurs, because teaming them up with Wemby, I think could be a second version of Tim Duncan and Tony Parker. Tony Parker was one of the fastest guards in the league.
And once
again,
the same way. For San Antonio to be able to bring in De'Aaron Fox, and you didn't lose any of your young players,
any of them,
that was a great piece of GM.
Great GM work right there that we saw from R.C. Buford, I believe is the is a GM for the Spurs. But yeah, I mean, when I saw and looked at the trade details, and I'm looking for some of the young dudes, I'm like, okay, maybe they gave up Stephon Castle. Or they didn't give him up. That's great. Maybe they gave up Devin Vassell. They didn't give him up Jeremy Sohan. Nobody. So yeah, that was a really good trade and one that I'm super interested in seeing. D Fox made his debut last night for the Spurs, and he had 24 and 12. So I think he did it pretty good in his debut.
And you still have the Hall of Famer Chris Paul as your point guard.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you do. To be able to control everything and to also mentor. We've seen it over Chris Paul's whole career. Everybody that plays guard with Chris Paul ends up getting a huge deal. Going all the way back to when he was in New Orleans, they had Darren Collison. Chris Paul mentors him. He gets a deal. He goes over to the Clippers. And with Eric Bledsoe gets a big deal. He does it later with all the way down to when he gets to OKC after the Rockets traded him, and he gets a young Shea. And now look what Shea has blossomed into. So, man, I'm excited to see what De'Aaron Fox can do.
The one thing that Chris Paul has done that most superstars don't do, but he's always done this over his whole career. He has no problem mentoring a young guard to turn him into a legitimate professional. He's done that everywhere he's been.
At every single stop. Yeah, I believe that as well. So that's a super exciting trade, folks. We got to take a break. When we come back for the top of the hour number 2, we're talking and we're going to break down this Super Bowl. We're going to talk about the most important players in the Super Bowl. We're going to give some predictions. Who do we think is going to win Super Bowl MVP? I'm going to give out a couple of props that I like for those of you that like to do your prop bets as well. And we got plenty to talk about, so stay locked in right here on Centex Primetime. We'll be right back after this short break.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen Gillis.
Act like y'all.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. Or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
Hey guys, it's Rocky and Keisha, and at Prosperity Tax Service, we're all about convenience. We get it. Life is busy. Your time is valuable. That's why we've streamlined the entire process to be as hassle-free as possible.
No more sifting through piles of paperwork or spending hours at an office. With Prosperity Tax Service, you can handle your taxes from the comfort of your own home.
Your financial data is in safe hands with us through our secure and user-friendly customer portal at prosperitytax.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things tax-related. Log in anytime from anywhere, whether it's from your couch or on the go.
We are experienced tax professionals, well-versed in handling a variety of tax situations. Receive genuine assistance and competitive pricing from real tax professionals who've seen it all.
We're marking 2 decades as a community-based enterprise here in Waco, Texas. So call us at 254-235-5662 or log on to www.prosperitytax.com. Thanks, guys.
NSJ Event Co., one of the premier event designers in Central Texas and a Centex Sports Network supporter. Voted Waco Awards Event Planner of the Year 2021, NSJ Event Co. is your go-to source for event planning. Whether it's your next baby shower, birthday bash, wedding, or retirement party, NSJ Event Co. will bring out the elegance, class, and style your event deserves. Call NSJ Event Co. at the number on the screen or scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation. NSJ Event Co., where the party lady takes care of all your event needs.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
Holy what is that?
It's time to get in the game.
Do you know what time it is?
Tune in to Primetime Sports Talk with Jalen Gillis.
To me, you are nothing.
Your go-to source for breaking sports news in Central Texas and exclusive Dallas Cowboys coverage.
Well, start it up. Let's go.
Catch us Monday through Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Prime Time, hour number 2 here on the show today. Want to thank everybody that's been tuning in with us today, not only today, but all week long here on Centex Prime Time. We've had a fun week up here for Super Bowl Sunday, Super Bowl week here on the show. It's been a great time being able to talk about the Super Bowl all week long, man, and everybody's getting ready and preparing for a great game on Sunday between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. Y'all see me with my Kansas City Chiefs shirt on. Don't get used to it for too long. You won't see me with it again after I honor this bet that I had to do to have this shirt on. Probably not going to see me in it again. But Kansas City versus Philadelphia this Sunday. It is going to be a huge game. We still got plenty to talk about with that game. Want to get to some quick takes before we jump back into some of these topics here. Before we break down some more of the Super Bowl, we'll talk about the Chiefs' possibility to three-peat. We'll talk about our most important players in this game. We'll talk about some of my favorite prop bets in this game. We'll give prediction for Super Bowl MVP. Who do we think is going to win this Super Bowl MVP as well? Before we do that, let's get to some hot topics around the sports world. Still on here, joined by Cedric Eigelhart. And matter of fact, said when we started this off, man, of the relationship between you and Centex Sports and you being on the show and coming up here with us, the common denominator was La Vega football. That's how we all got here together. And that's one of the things I want to bring up in La Vega football is they've had 5 guys that signed to play football, 5 guys that we got to watch this year firsthand, up close and personal, throughout their whole journey all the way to the state game, man. And I'm so glad to see these kids getting a chance to play at the next level as they continue their football careers. I just want to read through some of these names, and I'm going to let you give some insight on it as well. First off, Warren Richardson Jr., a guy that ended up becoming one of my favorite players on this La Vega team. Just a freak athlete, guy that makes plays everywhere. He's headed to the University of Texas Permian Basin. Really good football program out there at UTPB. Excited to see what Warren Richardson can do out there. Antoine Good, a guy that was making plays in the secondary all year long, has now headed up to Hardin-Simmons University to go out there with our guy, Coach Galen Glenn, who's been on the show with both me and you, said, and I see he's been doing some work out here back in his hometown in Waco, getting some kids, because I've seen multiple guys out of this Central Texas area heading up there. Amir Gibson, a guy that played great all year long for this La Vega team, a huge pivotal part in their secondary as well. He's going out there to play for the Javelins as well. Texas A&M University Kingsville, he's going out there and getting a chance to continue his football career. Ethan Thompson, a guy that, huge player for physically and literally for figuratively and literally for the La Vega Pirates, and a guy that really made a huge difference on both sides of the ball, offensive line and defensive line. He's headed out to the University of Houston. He's been committed there for a little while now, and he's headed out there to go play down in Houston for the Cougars. He'll be playing Big 12 football. I'm excited to be able to see him when they come to town and play Baylor as well. And then Bryson Rowland, a guy that's gone down in the history books of Central Texas football in high school, a guy that is in the top 10 of rushers in Central Texas high school football. This guy is a great player. I'm so glad to see him get a chance to continue his career, and he's going out to play for Arkansas Tech. So he's getting a chance to go and play some big-time football as well, a guy that was a huge playmaker, not just this year, but his whole career at La Vega. Like I said, this dude is going down in the history books in the Central Texas area. Said when you saw these guys get a chance to sign to these schools, man, like I said, you watch these guys all year long, up close and personal. What was that like, getting a chance to see these guys continue in their career going to the next level?
Yeah, once I saw that these guys were able to get scholarships. These 5 kids were able to get college scholarships to play ball at the next level. The very first thing I did was call Coach Hyde and congratulate him for another year to where he's putting kids into college through athletics. Because nowadays, it's not like it was back in the day. Nowadays, if you can get into college through athletics, you can legitimately position yourself into a place to where you can actually help your family with NIL and things like that. So to see these 5 kids be able to go to the next level. Now, we all knew Ethan Thompson, he had been committed to Houston last year.
Yeah.
Okay. We already knew that. But I was so happy to see kids like Warren Richardson Jr. and Bryson Rowland and Amir Gibson and Antoine Good, because these guys weren't, they had no deals on the table. There's still one more kid that I'm surprised is not on this list, and that's Thornton.
He's still got another year.
Right.
Yeah. He's got another year. He's got a lot of offers, so he's gonna be fine.
But he definitely improved his case this year because all this kid ever did every week is catch the ball with his hands. So to see this handful of kids get his attention, now we know that there are organizations, there are colleges, there are coaches who have an eye on La Vega, going forward, and that's the best thing that you can hope for is because you want to see these kids, and the thing that Coach Hyde does better than anybody, he finds a way to have his kids buy into the program, and this is why they continue to win year after year.
No, definitely. He's got guys that buy into this program, and you pointed out a great thing, that the fact that these guys that leave this program get a chance to play at the next level. Coach Hyde is sending guys to college. I mean, that's a huge thing. People get so enamored with seeing these top commits, and they're going to Alabama, and they're going, hey, man, these dudes are getting their school paid for. They get to change their life. They get to decide after football. They got a degree that they can lean back on and decide what they want to be able to go and do throughout life. That's huge, man. Seeing these guys do that's a huge deal, and Coach Hyde consistently does that since he's been a part of this La Vega program, and glad to see them being able to go on.
This is, getting an athletic scholarship is really and truly a life-altering thing. It really is.
It is.
It really is.
No, that's serious, because a lot of guys don't know what direction they want to go after high school, and what this gives kids more direction. This gives kids some more discipline and what they can do, and this gives them an opportunity, because you never know with the way that, like you said, NIL is, the way that the transfer portal is. You don't know where these kids will end up at and where they'll end up going. I mean, I'm thinking about a kid from Conley a few years ago that was a really great kid, and they got a chance to go down to Sam Houston and Kavion Gaither, and he's put his name into the NFL Combine now. So I mean, you don't know where these kids will be able to go in a few years from now, and getting their education paid for is a huge thing. So shout out Coach Hyde, shout out La Vega Pirate football, man. We had a great time being able to cover you guys all year long.
And it's great that we're in a position to where we have former players who are coaching in the area.
Man, huge deal.
Hardin Simmons. You talked about Coach Glenn. It's great now that we have coaches who are literally paying attention to the football that's being played in this area, and they're looking for kids.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. And he's another kid that got a chance to go somewhere after high school. He went to Hardin Simmons, and that parlayed into him having a coaching job, and now he gets the opportunity to reach back into this community and getting kids. So I'm super excited to see him being able to do that, and super excited to see how these kids are doing, man, and getting a chance to play at that next level. We're definitely all fans of you here on Centex Primetime, Centex Sports Network, wherever, this whole family, we're all friends of everybody coming out of this La Vega Pirate program. And because, like I said, we had an extremely fun time getting a chance to cover these young kids at La Vega this year. I want to go to a couple other quick topics. I'll stay with football for a quick second. We just talked about the NFL draft, and I really got a two-part to this. that I want to ask. First part is the NFL draft is coming up. The prospects are getting interviewed and they're talking and saying different things. So Jalen Milroe, the quarterback for the Alabama Crimson Tide, been the quarterback for a few years now, was asked about a position change. And, you know, I'm not for the quarterbacks, the black quarterbacks, because they're the ones that get asked about position change. Let's just be honest. The ones that are getting asked to change their position are the black quarterbacks because they're really fast and they're really strong. That don't mean they shouldn't be a quarterback. Now, with that being said, I don't think Jalen Milroe is that good of a quarterback. But he was asked about his position change, potential changing his position, and he said, I'm not going to change my position. I'm a quarterback. He says, you don't go out there and ask a zebra to be a dog. Now, I got to get your insight on this one because the quote kind of confused me. In this scenario, are you the zebra or the dog? I don't know I don't know who is who in this scenario or what that meant. Jalen Milroe, he's going to get drafted, and people are going to hype him up because of his athleticism. I'm talking about a true athlete all the way since he was in high school at Katy playing. Real true athlete. I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback, similar to an Anthony Richardson, who we saw come out in Indianapolis. Go ahead.
I agree with you. I don't think we're talking about somebody who's going to be anybody's franchise quarterback, but he is extremely athletic, very talented. I think actually, since you brought the name up, I think eventually Anthony Richardson would have to change positions and go out and play some slot. Just because the quarterback play is not there. It's just not there.
No.
Because NFL quarterbacking, it's all about decision making, and it's not about talent. Everybody's not a Lamar Jackson. Everybody's not a Josh Allen. You just can't go out here and just out-athlete everybody and be the starting quarterback in the NFL. It just doesn't work like that because you have guys who are being paid millions of dollars to make sure that you don't do that. Okay. Okay. So everybody can't just go out here and just be the best athlete on the field and play quarterback. That works in Pop Warner. That works in high school. That might even work in college. It just doesn't work in the league. You have to have the mindset to where you're able to make good decisions to be a good quarterback. We've seen poor athletes display good quarterback play. Peyton Manning was a terrible athlete. Tom Brady was a terrible athlete. Terrible athlete.
Talking about terrible.
But they knew how to make the right decisions to make plays to make sure that they kept their team in games and kept them going down the field. NFL quarterback play is not about being the best athlete. It's about making the best decisions. And what we're seeing with guys like Anthony Richardson I just don't think you have that. I don't think Jalen Milroe has that. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see it either. And like you said, Anthony Richardson haven't worked too good for him. Freak athlete. And the bad thing is for Jalen Milroe is Anthony Richardson is a way better athlete than Jalen Milroe. And Jalen Milroe was a great athlete. Anthony Richardson is something we've really never seen before in the league when you talk about this combination of size and speed, arm power, all this kind of stuff. The bad thing is he just happens to be a terrible quarterback. And Jalen Milroe, his draft stock was high after they beat Georgia. I mean, we were even on this show talking about, where did his draft stock go after that game? Unfortunately, it dropped, and it dropped that when he played Oklahoma, it went really down. When he played Michigan in that bowl game, I think his draft stock plummeted, honestly. Somebody's still going to take him because go ahead.
Literally off the top of my head, I can give you 5 quarterbacks I'd rather draft instead of Jalen Milroe.
Hey, give me the 5.
And that's just off the top of my head. He's just not a good quarterback. He's just not. He's a great athlete. But he's not a good quarterback.
No, I agree with you. Who are the 5 quarterbacks you would take? Because I could think of about 5 myself that I would take in front of him. Obviously, we know the first 2, Shador and Cam.
I knew you were going to ask that question. Okay.
Look.
So obviously Cam Ward, Shador Sanders.
For sure.
I take Dylan Gabriel.
Okay.
I take Jackson Dart.
Same.
I take the kid from Georgia.
Yeah. Well, no, Carson Beck's not coming out, but Quinn Ewers is coming out. I
don't want Quinn Ewers.
I don't want Quinn Ewers either, but I would take him above Milroe.
I would take him above Milroe. Yeah, I agree with that.
And then I'm even saying I like the kid out of Syracuse that transferred from Ohio State.
Who's the kid? Who's the kid in Syracuse?
Kyle McCord. They transferred from Ohio State. I like him better. I think he had a great year.
I would take Kyle McCord. Yeah, I would.
I think he's probably one of the more underrated quarterbacks coming out of this draft, man. Yep. We forgot this dude transferred from Ohio State just because obviously they got a lot of guys at Ohio State, and then they brought in a big name transfer. But Kyle, who was talking about Syracuse football? Kyle McCord went over there and they won 9 games. So I like Kyle McCord in that too. So yeah, man, I'm agreeing. I just don't see Jalen Hurts as a top draft quarterback. I want to talk about one of the other players in the draft, Travis Hunter, a guy that obviously highly talked about, Heisman Trophy winner. Like I've been saying since we first started the show, best player in college football coming out this year.
Right.
He proved it that he was the best player in football coming out this year. Warren Sapp was asked about him, and here's a couple things he had to say, and we'll go give our take after we listen to what Warren Sapp said about Travis Hunter when he was getting interviewed about Travis.
Okay.
A friend of mine, week 2, and I said he's going to win the Heisman. I had never seen anything like it. And I know I was a dog in college. I know I was.
Mm-hmm.
Can't touch him. Cover a 9 route, turn around, run a dig, and go all the way to the end zone. Every time he's scoring. Play after play. And the joy in his face and his enthusiasm about the game was just infectious, Rich. It was sick. I'm going to put him on a corner and lock down 1/3 of the field.
Yep.
Play with my defense and rotate and do the different things I want to do. But then you have a package for him on offense because the game that they've built now has an Autobahn, Rich. And you got a V12 right here. You put him in certain situations, 6-10 plays a game. Why not? This appetite for the ball and to just be on the field, I've never seen anything like it. And I've been around some bad ones. A friend of mine.
So that was Warren Sapp talking about, as we know, Warren Sapp, a coach for Colorado. He coached their defensive line this year, talking about Travis Hunter. And I think he was spot on in his assessment, man. It's a reason Travis Hunter won the Heisman. There's a reason that Travis Hunter is the most unique player to play college football because of all the things that Warren Sapp just pointed out. This dude is probably, by a lot of GMs actually have said, is the best offensive player coming out in this draft. This guy is, by most GMs in the league have said, this is the best defensive player coming out in the draft. And for my opinion, I would do, everyone's talking about, man, do you play him on offense? Do you play him on defense? In my opinion, I would do exactly what Warren Sapp said, and I've been saying it all year. You can't mimic what this guy does at corner. His ball skills, him being able to follow routes, the playmaking ability that he has, you cannot mimic that as a corner. At receiver, I think he is a really good receiver. And, his hands are crazy. That's the best part about his receiving. I don't even really think it's the speed. I don't really think it's the route running. He's got impeccable hands. We saw it multiple times throughout this year on both sides of the ball. The catches that he was able to make is absolutely ridiculous. I would do just like what Warren Sapp said. I'd play this guy on defense, and I would have a package for him on offense, similar to Deion Sanders whenever he was in Atlanta and Dallas. I would have a package for this guy on offense, 6 to 10 plays, maybe 15, come in on offense on third down plays when you need some yardage. He can either be a decoy or he's electric with the ball in his hands. I'd let this guy play on defense because I really do truly think he has the tools to be a lockdown, shutdown corner and possibly best corner in the NFL one day. And there's a lot of good corners in the league right now. But, Seb, what was your thoughts hearing what Warren Sapp had to say about Travis Hunter?
Yeah, the thing that really resonated with me when I heard that, because I actually literally saw that interview earlier this morning, okay? The fact that you replayed it was kind of crazy.
We on the same page.
On the same page. But, yeah, this guy is, okay, in my lifetime, okay, I've only seen one player who he's comparable to, and that's his coach.
Yeah.
Just to be so supremely talented, you can just play anywhere on the field. at any time, doesn't matter what side of football it is. Because when Deion played, nobody, when he was at corner, you didn't throw at Deion. When he was at wide, when they put him in on wide receiver, he knew how to get open and make a play. And I think Hunter is that same kind of kid. Now, I think that he'll probably be better served as an offensive decoy. And the reason why I say that is you definitely want him to be your corner. He's a shutdown corner.
Yeah.
He's a shutdown corner. Whatever team drafts him in April, he's going to be the best defensive back in the league.
Yeah.
Once he gets drafted. He will. He will. He's just that good. And so when you put him out here on offense, you'll probably be better served using him as a decoy, making sure that you have to commit somebody to cover him at a wideout, even though you have no intention of throwing him the football. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you do want to throw the football, he'll catch it. He'll catch it.
Yeah, he's coming down with the ball.
He's just so extremely talented in terms of finding a way, whether he's playing offense or defense. He's so incredibly talented with finding a way to come down with the football. He's just great like that. He may have more value on the offensive side as a decoy than he has somebody that you want to just run plays for, out of the slot. And he has great size.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever team drafts Travis Hunter, and we know it's going to be, he won't go past 5. He won't go past 5.
Man.
It just depends on what these guys are trying to do and how they're trying to position themselves. He definitely won't go past 5. Neither will Shedeur.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. I'm thinking the same as you. This guy's a top 5 pick in this draft, and I know we'll after the Super Bowl we'll get more in depth, and I'm gonna put my Mel Kiper hat on, and I'm gonna try to get more in depth with this, and I'm gonna try to put out some mock draft stuff. I'll get you on here because I know you like me, and you like to get in the weeds and finding out what these GMs are thinking and trying to predict what's going on. So we're going to talk more about the draft. But just looking at these first couple of picks in the draft, Tennessee, Cleveland, New York, New England, and then Jacksonville at 5. I mean, it's tough. I haven't put my Mel Kiper hat on yet and dove all the way into this. But just looking at it, I'm not sure who wants to go quarterback yet in this top 5. I'm not fully convinced. I thought Tennessee would be one to do it, but I wouldn't be shocked if I saw Travis Hunter in Tennessee either. What's your thoughts looking at this top 5? Because I haven't been able to dive in fully on this, but just at face value right now.
With Will Levis being so young, I can see that franchise saying, well, maybe we just have to give him more reps, right? I can see that. You don't necessarily have to move off of Will Levis right now. Obviously, New England is not looking for anything in the quarterback position.
Neither is Jacksonville.
Raiders, Jacksonville's definitely good.
Yeah,
they already paid Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
he just got to find a way to stay healthy.
Exactly. And then you got Cleveland at that number 2 spot. I'm not sure where they're going to go as far as quarterback.
Cleveland needs a quarterback. The whole Deshaun Watson situation still doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense to me when they signed him, fully guaranteed. And I was like, well, you got the same agent as Kirk Cousins?
No, seriously.
The Raiders are going to be the first team in my mind that's going to take a quarterback.
Okay.
Now the only thing is, who do you take? Is it Cam Ward? Is it Shedeur Sanders? Cam Ward's played a lot of college football.
Yes, he has.
I mean, a lot of college football. Cam Ward is probably the safest choice, but it wouldn't surprise me if somebody took Shedeur Sanders over Cam Ward as the first quarterback off the board.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Cam will be the first quarterback off the board if Cleveland or New York at pick 2 and 3 decide to go with a quarterback. If it gets to Vegas, I think they'll take Shedeur because of star power.
Yeah, the Giants. Yeah, the Giants definitely need a quarterback. I forgot about the Giants. You're right.
Yeah, at 3.
Yeah, they're in that top 5 too. Yeah.
So
the Giants definitely need a quarterback. Yeah.
Oh, they need one bad. They don't even have anybody on the roster really since they let Daniel Jones go. So I think they'll be taking a quarterback. I'm just not convinced on if it's Shedeur or Cam Ward yet. At 6, if Shedeur is still there, that's where he's going because the Raiders, they want to make a splash. You see the coaching staff they're putting together. Tom Brady's more involved. Mark Davis is the owner. They want a splash player. Shedeur and Tom Brady have had a relationship for the past 2 or 3 years. They got Pete Carroll. They just made the big time signing and getting Chip Kelly as their offensive coordinator. I know you don't want to hear that as an Eagles fan, but Chip Kelly's back in the league, and he's going to be calling plays for the Raiders. But I don't think Shedeur is going to get past them. But man, like I said, go ahead.
So let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
We're talking about the Raiders as an organization. Do you think Tom Brady being part of the organization and being involved and being engaged, do you think that's going to be a good thing for them going forward? Because I'm really not that sure.
I think it'll be a better thing going forward than what they've had. As far as how Tom will do it's tough when these guys are so good. We're talking about the highest of highest with athletes to see how they work in front office positions because honestly, just most of the time, and I mean, we talked about this one of the times we were on the show. Most of the time, it honestly just doesn't work out. It just doesn't work out. And Tom Brady is a guy that's highly, highly competitive. So I know he wants to try to put a competitive roster together. What I don't know is once they put that competitive roster together and it doesn't work, how is Tom Brady then going to respond?
Yeah, and my only concern is I'm just looking at the lesson that history has taught us. Michael Jordan, terrible front office.
Terrible.
Isaiah Thomas, terrible front office guy.
Phil Jackson.
Magic Johnson, terrible front office guy. Great players, some of the best players ever. Front office, not so much. I think the best player that was ended up being a decent front office guy was Larry Bird.
Yeah. Larry Bird and Joe Dumars. They're probably the only guys that are going to be in the Hall of Fame that were good. Because majority of the time, and I can't think of really many at all in football that's worked out for. So we'll see how that experiment plays out. But I do like the groundwork that he's laid out.
I got no foot. Oh, okay. I do have one for football. Ozzie Newsome.
Ozzie Newsome for sure. Can't forget about the great Ozzie Newsome.
Ozzie Newsome
did an amazing job. Last pick he ever made, Lamar Jackson. So that was the last pick he made before he retired, and he did a phenomenal job setting up the Baltimore Ravens. And like the Raiders thing, man, it's a tough one because they're so they have a huge lack of talent. You know, some of these teams like Cleveland, as bad as Cleveland is now, it's about to get worse because Myles Garrett is asking for a trade. But as bad as they are, they at least have some players. I can't name 3 or 4 good players from the Raiders. I might not be able to name 3. I get to Max Crosby and then I'll stop. Because Jacobs is not even there anymore either. So I mean, this is a long road back. I like the groundwork they're laying with Pete Carroll coming in as a head coach. Chip Kelly is interesting. That's all I can say because his last time in the league was so bad.
The only thing is what the Raiders franchise has to understand is we are in full-blown rebuild mode.
Yes.
We don't have a good roster.
Yeah.
So give us a couple of years to get some talent in the building to rebuild the roster because we don't have a good roster. And as long as they understand that, they'll be okay.
Yeah.
They'll be okay.
Yeah, to your point, how long is Tom Brady going to be okay with that? Because we know what type. I mean, he's hyper competitive. This is a guy that like goes crazy over his competitiveness.
Listen, I don't care how competitive you are. If you're not rational, if you don't understand that the organization that you became a minority owner of, if you don't realize that your roster is terrible and it's going to take you a couple of years to rebuild that, if you don't snap to that, something's wrong with you.
Yeah, no, that you you 100% right. If you can't grasp reality, you can't go put that helmet back on, Tom. So you can't fix this one with just a couple of plays or one touchdown right here. This is going to be a long, drawn-out process and a very interesting one. Like I said, we'll dig deeper into this draft after the Super Bowl, and we'll get plenty of time to be able to talk before we get all the way to April. It's crazy that Tom Brady is rebuilding the Raiders, and the last time that the Raiders were ever good was when he beat them with the tuck rule. So that's kind of a crazy dynamic to see how it's kind of come full circle because they literally have been completely 100% irrelevant to football since then in that time. But hopefully he'll be able to go in and change that. Folks, it is Super Bowl Sunday, Super Bowl week here on Centex Primetime. Just a couple of days away. We finally get this chance and get to see this game. We've been waiting for 2 weeks. And if you're like Wayne, he called this pick out. Myself, when the playoffs started, we said, hey, man, it's probably going to be Philly and Kansas City. I didn't see any team getting in the way of either one of those teams. Now, I thought that Kansas City would beat Baltimore in the AFC Championship. I thought Philly would beat Detroit in the NFC Championship. That didn't work out, but the two teams that made it, yeah, exactly. Exactly. The two teams I thought they would be playing did not make it, but Philly and Kansas City made it nonetheless. Well, we'll talk some more about this game. We talked about it a little bit earlier. And some of these guys. I want to ask you this, speaking on not the Eagles side, but from the Kansas City point of view. Will a three-peat make the Kansas City Chiefs one of, if not the best team of all time? Because no one has ever been able to pull off this three-peat. They've gone to, 5 Super Bowls now, I believe, in 6 years. They've got a chance to three-peat now. Andy Reid has cemented himself as one of the best coaches ever. Patrick Mahomes already in talks as the GOAT for quarterbacks. I'm still not putting him above Tom Brady, but a lot of people are already saying he's right there as far as the GOAT. You think about Travis Kelce's going to go down as one of the best tight ends. All of these guys in this organization, Spagnuolo finally getting his credit for the great defensive coordinator that he's been over the years. He just wasn't that good as a head coach. Will this make this team the best or one of the best of all time?
Okay, so I'm 53 years old. I've been watching football to where I understood what I was watching. Mm-hmm. I've been doing that since the 80s, okay?
Yeah.
The best football team that I ever saw was Buffalo Bills when they went 4 years in a row. Didn't win.
I talk about that all the time.
But, yeah, that was probably the best team that I ever saw. I mean, they literally had everything. They just couldn't figure out a way to win the big one.
Yeah.
Kansas City is right there, and the only reason why Kansas City is right there, 2 reasons. Patrick Mahomes, you cannot allow Patrick Mahomes to hang around in the fourth quarter. We talked in the first hour.
Yeah.
2 of the Super Bowls that he won, they were down by 10 points in the fourth quarter, and they won both those games. You just can't give Patrick Mahomes an opportunity to hang around. And then Andy Reid with the adjustments. I'm not so big on Spags. Now, I'm not saying that Spags doesn't do a good job as a DC, but I don't think he's as great as everybody is making him out to be. That's just me personally.
I get it.
Because I think I want to say they're top 4 in the league in blitzing on defense.
Yeah.
Anybody can call a blitz. Anybody can call a blitz. But once again, if Philadelphia is going to have to get up on Kansas City by, like, it's got to be 17-0 at halftime. If it's not 17-0 at halftime, Kansas City can come back and walk that down.
Yeah. No, that's 100% true.
Yeah. Mahomes is literally that good. They got to be up at least 17-0 at halftime to have a chance to win that game. They have to win this in blowout fashion. If the game is close, they're going to lose because of Mahomes.
And it's just that simple. Like, you don't really have to even give a lot of analysis to go with that. Number 15 is so good. that even if it's a 10-point lead, in my opinion, it with 5 or 6 minutes left, I'm sweating for my pick of the Philadelphia Eagles because, man, this dude is so dangerous with the football and to the point of the question with the three-peat. I think that if they do three-peat, this cements them as the best dynasty to ever be in the NFL for sure.
If they do pull off the three-peat, I'm not saying that they're the best franchise. I'm not saying this is the best run. Obviously, nobody's ever done this, but I still put those Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Buffalo teams ahead of them because their roster was just stacked.
The roster was crazy.
Both sides of the ball. Their roster was just stacked. Those were great teams. Couldn't find a way to win, but those were great rosters.
Yeah, they just couldn't get over that hump.
Right. And you can look at Kansas City. Well, just like Wayne did earlier in the first hour, you just go position for position. Philly versus KC. Philly clearly has the best roster.
Oh yeah.
But that don't mean that Mahomes won't find a way to win the game if it's close.
Because we've seen 49ers had the best roster last year, and we saw what Mahomes did to them in overtime, and how they were able to walk them down in that overtime game. And I'd put them, like I said, as probably the best dynasty if they won it, the three-peat. But as far as the best team ever, you said you've been watching since the 80s. I've been watching since the 2000s. And the best team I've ever seen with my own two eyes is the 2007 New England Patriots. Unfortunately, like the Buffalo Bills, they just couldn't close the deal out. But that team was the best team I've ever seen. I mean, it was ridiculous. They were beating teams. They're putting up 40 points on teams at halftime, man. I mean, it was ridiculous. Randy Moss had 23 touchdowns as a receiver. That's crazy.
And this is a great thing about football. Football has been and always will be a team sport. You don't necessarily have to have the best roster in terms of talent, but as long as everybody is on the same page and willing to execute, you can beat a lot of people like that.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
Exactly.
And this is what we saw with New England. New England never went into any Super Bowl matchup with the best roster. They never did that.
The only time they did, they lost in 07.
Yeah, exactly.
All the rest of them, they didn't.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, got out executed by the Giants. So that's the great thing about football. It really is the ultimate team sport. You got to have 22 guys on the same page, willing to do the same thing, understanding what is expected of them, and then they have to go out and carry out that execution. That's the great thing about football.
Yeah, and that's what makes it, like you said, that's the greatest part about football. It's not always about just having the best team, the team with the most all-pros. I mean, not to switch and to just take shots, but we've seen the Dallas Cowboys with teams with 13 Pro Bowlers on one team. I think we saw them with 10 guys that made an all-pro team a few years ago. And that obviously didn't amount to that much at all. So it's not always about
didn't win nothing.
That didn't amount to much whatsoever. But to the point, Eagles have the best team, but this Kansas City team, man, they know how to win. Like Wayne has been saying all year on this show, winning is a habit, and the Kansas City Chiefs have that habit of being able to win. I want to talk about a couple of prop bets that I like for those of you that like to do some bets. And they said I'm going to get your opinion on this over and under on here on some of these as well. So a couple of prop bets that I like for those of you that do like to do some prop bets. This one is a no-brainer. If you're doing a parlay, this should be the first one on your parlay. Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown. This should be a no-brainer, folks. This isn't some astute analysis. This should be the easiest pick that you make in your parlay for those of you that are making a parlay. This is your easiest pick. Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown. That is self-explanatory. He's been destroying everybody this whole playoffs. He's got a chance to break the all-time record for most yards in a total season with postseason included. In the Super Bowl, he's got a chance. I think he's only like 39 yards away from breaking the total record, and would have already broke it if he didn't slide down in that Los Angeles Rams game where he slid down a 40, 50-yard touchdown.
If he only needs 39 yards, that record is broken.
Yeah, it's as good as broken. Yeah, that's I said the same thing. I think that record's as good as broken. So he's been playing phenomenal all year long and in the postseason. So that one should be a no-brainer. Another one I like, Travis Kelce over 6 catches. Now they put it at 6 catches because Travis has been, they use him, sometimes they don't use him. I'm telling y'all right now, this is the Super Bowl. When they need Travis Kelce, and somehow they always seem to need him when he plays my Texans, because every other team he only gets like 2 catches. When he plays the Texans, he's getting 10 catches, 120 yards. It's guaranteed. It's locked in. But when you need him in these big games, he always shows up. In the Super Bowl last year, he didn't do much in that playoff run. They get to the Super Bowl, he turns right back into Travis Kelce. He's still going to be the go-to target in this. Go ahead.
Here's the only problem that I have with that one. Okay.
Let's hear it.
This is the only problem that I have with this. Patrick Mahomes doesn't need Travis Kelce to catch the ball 6 times to be effective and win the ball game.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, he just doesn't. He just doesn't need him like that. When he was younger, yeah. But now Patrick Mahomes doesn't need Travis Kelce can catch 2 balls. And Kansas City can go out here and win because Mahomes is just going to throw the ball to whoever's open.
That's facts. That's facts. That's facts. Right? I get it. I get it. Does.
So, yeah, I'm not really sure about that one. 6 sounds right about, 6 sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 6, and they got it at that number for a reason.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, but it's rewarding if you do get that one right. I just think when it gets down to that fourth quarter, they'll give Travis the ball. But to your point, they don't need to give Travis the ball 6 times, man. They don't need to give anybody the ball 6 times. They've already won multiple playoff games with nobody having more than 3 catches. He's just getting the ball to anybody out there, whoever's open. The third pick I like in this one, I like Elliott, the field goal kicker for the Philadelphia Eagles, plus 1.5 field goal makes. I think that the Eagles are going to be in the red zone and going to be in position, and points are going to come at a premium in this game for both sides. I could have took Harrison Buckner with this one.
That's a great choice. Because the one thing that Sirianni is going to do is anytime they have a chance to put points on the board, he's going to put points on the board.
Yeah.
And you may not be able to get into the red zone on a regular basis because I do respect Spags as a DC. I do respect him. But you may not always be able to get into the red zone and take a shot at the end zone. Kick a field goal. I honestly think there's going to be 3 field goals by Philadelphia in this game.
I was literally thinking the same thing as you. I was like, man, Philly's good for at least 3 field goals because, like I said, points are going to come at a premium. Even if you don't get in the red zone, Elliott's got a leg to make the 49-yarders. He can make the 51-yarders. And and Sirianni is a coach that he is going to take advantage. He's not a Dan Campbell. He's going to take advantage of the points when he can put up points because he knows how important they're going to come when you're playing against number 15 on the other side over there. Last one. Go ahead.
If it's 4th and 2 and they're in field goal range, they're not going for it. They're kicking the field goal.
Yeah.
No, that's
facts.
what they're gonna do.
Yeah. He don't want to go. He don't want to go with the alternative, especially in a game like this with who you're playing against on the other side. When they have an opportunity to score at any time, you got to get the points when you can get the points. Last prop bet I have on this one to complete my parlay is the one I told you guys on Monday. I took Philadelphia when they were plus 1.5. Right now they're sitting at a 1 point plus 1. I took them when they were at 1.5, and that rounded out the end of my parlay on there, man. I like Philly in this game, and I think why not take them on that plus 1.5? The one I want to ask you about, said, is this point total. Because so I got somebody to call me the other day and ask me about it. I said, man, I didn't know which direction I'm leaning on this. The point total is 48.5. Which direction do you see this one going? You see this going under the 48.5, or do you see this at the end of the game, maybe both teams putting up some scoring and getting above that 48.5?
Okay, so let's just break it down mathematically. 48.5, that's 24. 24 against 24. Okay, 0.5 somewhere.
Yeah.
Listen. I just don't think because we're talking about literally, in my mind anyway, 2 of the best defensive coordinators in the league. Okay? So I just don't think these teams are going to find the end zone often enough to where they can, either one of them can put up 28 points. That's 4 touchdowns apiece. I just don't see that. I just don't see that. To me, this feels like a 2017 kind of game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I see this being a low-scoring 20. I was thinking like 24, 21, somewhere in there type of range because, man, points are just going to be hard to get. This could be one of those ugly score games, like 15, 16 to 19, somewhere in there, just because both teams are going to be kicking field goals, trying to get as many points as they can.
These are literally 2 of the top 5 defenses in the league.
Yes,
I mean, this is who they are. You know, and you know, Jalen Hurts ain't trying to. The offensive plan for Jalen Hurts ain't drop back and throw the ball 35 times. No. Patrick Mahomes, the offensive plan for Patrick Mahomes ain't drop back and throw the ball 35 times.
Nope.
It's ball control for both teams. It's both ball control.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head, man. That's for both teams. This is all about ball control, and they know that. Both teams have the same plan. Keep the ball out of the other guy's hands. Both teams got the exact same. The Chiefs do not want Saquon Barkley to have the ball all game. The Eagles do not want Patrick Mahomes to have the ball all game. It's that simple. Neither one of these teams, they're trying to win time. They're trying to win time of possession. Both teams are trying to win the rushing game. That's what both teams are going to this doing. And then I'm thinking about 2 guys, and I'm about to ask about the who you got for most important players. But I'm thinking about 2 guys when I think about the low scoring. Is Jalen Carter for the Eagles that's going to stuff in the red zone like we saw him do against the Rams. I mean, he ended that game for the Rams. He took over and ended that game. And Chris Jones, who's ended multiple games for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and the playoffs. Those are the guys I'm thinking about in the red zone. I'm like, man, it's going to be hard to be able to score with these. So I'm in alignment with you. I like the under on that 48.5 if I had to pick. I'm not a big fan of that point total. I think Vegas put it in the right spot on purpose because they want guys to be unsure about where they could go. But if I had to pick, I would take the under in that one. Before we get off here, I got to ask, most important players in this game for both sides, who are the difference makers in this game for the Eagles? Who are the difference makers in this game for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Okay, so the most important player for the Philadelphia Eagles in this game is going to be Jalen Carter. He has to have a big game on the defensive side of the ball. They have to be able to control the line of scrimmage in the trenches, okay? Because if they're able to control the line of scrimmage in the trenches, then Kansas City can't run the ball, right? So now you have reduced the Kansas City offense. Now they're just one-dimensional to where they have to throw the ball. They don't have a lot of talented wide receivers. They just don't.
Yeah.
They just don't, okay? So if you can reduce the Kansas City offense to relegate them to where they have to pass, that plays in Philadelphia's favor. The most important player on Kansas City's defense is George Karlaftis. George Karlaftis is an edge rusher, and he's very, very talented. Everybody pays a lot of attention to Chris Jones, and for good reason. But listen, George Karlaftis is very talented as an edge rusher. So if they can't find a way to block George Karlaftis, that's going to put pressure on Jalen Hurts. He's not going to have time to make, to go through his progressions and make his reads. So in my mind, those are the 2 most important players for both teams.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really like your pick with Jalen Carter. He's one of the guys I was going to name for most important players in this thing because of Kansas City's offensive line has been under question, but their interior offensive line with the 2 guards and center might be the best in the NFL. When you think about Trey Smith, you think about Joe Thuney, who is going to like his 6th Super Bowl, I think, because he won 3 with the Patriots and he's won 3 with the with the Kansas City Chiefs, and then Creed Humphrey, who's one of the best centers.
Joe Thuney is clearly the best offensive lineman that they have on their roster.
For sure. Their strength is on their interior line, and that's where Jalen Carter is going to be going against. That's why I put him as one of the most important players, because as good as their interior line is, I just said one of the best in the league, their tackles might be the worst. They're in the bottom 5 of the league. Their tackles are absolutely terrible for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's why Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter were on Patrick Mahomes the way that they were in that game they played against the Texans. Yeah. They're terrible on the outside. So if Jalen Carter can get wins on the inside against that super experienced, probably best interior line on for the Kansas City Chiefs, Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat, those guys, man, it's going to be lunch meat on the outside. So that's why Jalen Carter, in my opinion, is probably the most important player in this game for both sides. The other player on the Philadelphia Eagles is also on the defense because we know Saquon. It's easy to say Saquon's the most important. We know that. But the other one that I would say for the Eagles on the defense is Chauncey Gardner. This is a guy that's obviously a controversial player, but a guy that is extremely talented. He's going to have to match up a lot of times in this game against Travis Kelce.
The problem with CJ is he's just not always dialed in. Yeah. Right? He's talented.
Extremely talented.
He has a lot of ability, but he's just not always dialed in. And it's like when we need him to show up and make a play, he's checked out. I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. He's an X factor. If he's dialed in, that secondary is good.
Exactly. And when I think he's kind of that heartbeat. Whenever he's making plays, that whole defense picks up on that energy that he has. Like you said, he's a guy that can get off and can get off track. But that's why he's the X factor in this game to me. When he even if he plays medium, I feel like the Eagles have a good chance to win this. If he plays good to great, I feel like the Eagles have a great chance to be able to win that game because that's just the type of player he is, the type of playmaker he is around the ball. He's a good playmaker. We know he can make big hits, and he's going to be matched up against Travis a lot in this game. Like you said, on the outside, I like D-Hop and I like Hollywood. I like those guys. I don't see many wins on the outside, in my opinion, against this Eagles secondary. The wins will be from Travis if they do get wins.
Yeah, those guys on the edges, they're not going to be able to defeat Philly's cornerbacks one-on-one in man coverage. We just got too much talent.
Exactly.
I believe that.
For Kansas City on their side, I think both of their players are on the offense. I think the George Karlaftis was a great pick because he is super underrated, a guy that most people don't talk about. Like you said, everybody talks about Chris Jones and what he can do. Man, George Karlaftis, since he stepped in the league from Purdue, has been a really great player for this Kansas City Chiefs team. But both of the players that I think are going to be X factors for the Chiefs in this game are both on their offense. The first one is Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is a guy that got off the streets that helped carry this team to a lot of wins and has played and stepped up and played big minutes for them in the playoffs. This is a guy that got kicked off the team when he was on the Chiefs because of the off-the-field reasons. He's come back, and he's been playing great for them. I think if Kareem Hunt can have a good game, it's going to be really tough to be able to beat this Kansas City Chiefs team because we know what Mahomes is going to do. Go ahead.
And this is my only question about Kareem Hunt. In a moment as big as this, do you trust Kareem Hunt to be your primary ball carrier?
That's why he's an X factor. I think I think they can win without him being the primary ball carrier. But if he can come in and give you 85 yards and a touchdown, we've seen him get 7 touchdowns this year. He almost rushed for 1,000 yards this year and barely played. So I think this dude can be an X factor. The other X factor I like on this team is Xavier Worthy. Like I just said, I don't think these guys have a lot of wins on the outside when it comes to their matchup against this cornerback group and this DB group for the Philadelphia Eagles. What I do know is in this playoff and at the end of the year, Kansas City has been extremely creative in ways that they get Xavier Worthy the ball. And there's one thing that you cannot teach. And if Wayne was here, he would agree with me on that. And that's speed, man. You can't teach that. This dude got the fastest 40 time NFL history for a reason. He can be a game breaker because he has the ability to get the ball at anywhere and take it to the house. Will he do that? I don't know. I didn't put him in my prop bets for a reason because he's a hit or miss guy. I had him on my fantasy team this year. He's a hit or miss type of guy. So, but if he does get the ball and is able to make that play, man, this dude can take over games.
He's a hit or miss kind of guy, but because of his speed, he's probably the fastest guy in the league. But because of his speed, when he hits, he can get to the house. He's a hit or miss kind of guy, but because of his speed, he's probably the fastest guy in the league. But because of his speed, when he hits, he can get to the house. He's a hit or miss kind of guy, but because of his speed, he's probably the fastest guy in the league. that's going to be to the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. You're exactly right, man. So those are those guys that I got as the X factor. Last question, said before we let you get off here, man. Super Bowl MVP. Who do you see is going to be holding up that trophy as Super Bowl MVP on the end of Sunday night?
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, and it's that simple.
Because if Saquon Barkley is not utilized the way he's supposed to be, Philadelphia doesn't win that game.
Hey, that's probably the best point that you've made since you've been on this show today. Is if they do not use Saquon Barkley the right way, there is no Super Bowl MVP for Philadelphia. So I'm 100% agreeing with you on this one, man. Saquon Barkley, I think, is the guy going to be holding up that trophy at the end of the night, man. Because if he does what he can do, I think Philadelphia is going to win. And if he does not get utilized the right way, Philadelphia will lose. It's just that simple. They will lose. Against
He'll get 30 carries.
30 carries, man. I'm right with you. 30. Hey, his prop bet is like 27 carries or something. So Vegas thinking the same thing as me and you. They know that this dude is gonna get the football in big quantity. So Philadelphia Eagles. Both of us are picking Philadelphia, folks. We're out of time here today. Want to thank everybody for tuning in with us today. Super Bowl Sunday. We cannot wait for this matchup on Sunday between these two teams, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs. Y'all see I got the shirt on. Shout out to the Ingram family, man, for giving me this shirt, sending it to me, to Kansas City fans, also MCC fans. Shout out to y'all, man. I honored the bet. I wore the shirt, and I love watching Jalea and what she's able to do at MCC, man. So definitely all good fun. Appreciate y'all sending me the shirt. But I will be picking the Philadelphia Eagles. Don't get that twisted. I picked the Eagles to win this game, y'all. But I want to thank everybody once again for tuning in with us here today on Centex Primetime. We'll be back on Monday to break down everything that happened on Super Bowl Sunday. We'll see you guys then. Everybody have a great night.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen Gillis.
Act like y'all.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports.
You're listening to the JR Sport Brief.
It is.